It's 5:47 in the morning and you're already awake. Not because of an alarm, because of an idea. You lie still in the dark, staring at a ceiling with a water stain shaped like a country that doesn't exist, and in your head, a video is already playing. The opening shot, the music. The moment the title appears, you've never uploaded anything in your life. But in your mind, you've made 1,000 videos. Your room is small enough that you can touch both walls if you stretch. The paint peels near the window like old paper. The desk came from a neighbor who was throwing it away. One of its legs is shorter than the others, so it rocks every time you type. The chair complains when you sit down. The fan in the corner is louder than your laptop. A laptop that takes 4 minutes to wake up and sounds like a small airplane when it does. Nothing in this room looks like a dream, and yet every night this room fills with millions of people. Only you can see them. Downstairs, your mother is already in the kitchen. You hear the same sounds you've heard your entire life: the kettle, the drawer that sticks. The radio turned down low so it doesn't wake anyone. She works hard, she always has. Your father left when you were young enough that missing him feels less like a wound and more like a room in the house nobody enters. Money is tight. Not desperate, tight. There's always food. There's rarely extra. Your older siblings did everything right. They studied. They graduated. They found real jobs with real schedules and real paychecks. At dinner, they talk about promotions and rent and being responsible. Then they look at you. And you? What's your plan? You say, "I'm figuring it out," and push the food around your plate. Because how do you explain that your plan lives inside a screen? They're not cruel. That's the hard part. Your mother says, maybe YouTube can be your hobby. Your brother says you need a real job. Your sister says it more gently, but it lands the same. Dreams don't pay bills. They're not trying to break you. They're trying to protect you. They've just never seen anyone from a street like yours make it. But that wasn't the hardest part. The hardest part was school. Not because you failed. You didn't. You sat in class, respectful, quiet, invisible, while your notebook filled with things that had nothing to do with the lesson: titles, thumbnails, story ideas, little storyboards drawn in the margins. The teacher talked about formulas. You watched dust float through a beam of light and thought, that would be a beautiful shot. You see stories everywhere. You can't turn it off. You've stopped trying. Then one night, an ordinary Tuesday, nothing special, no sign from the universe. You sit down at the wobbly desk and you do it. You create the channel. No logo, no intro, no camera except the cracked phone in your hand. No microphone, no lights. Just a name typed with a keyboard missing 2 keys. And courage. Mostly courage. Your first video is nothing impressive. You, talking to the camera, voice low so nobody in the house hears you. You talk about starting, about wanting to make things. You film it 3 times because your hands shake. At 1:12 in the morning, you press upload. The progress bar crawls. Your internet connection was never built for dreams. 87%, 94%, 100. Published. Your heart is pounding like you just did something dangerous. You refresh the page, 0 views. You refresh again, 0. You tell yourself it takes time. You put the phone face down. You pick it up 30 seconds later, 0. You fall asleep with the phone on your chest. Morning comes. You check before you even sit up. 0 views, 0 comments, 0 everything. The internet, with all its billions of people, walked past your video like it wasn't there. You go to school. You come home. You check again. Still 0. 3 days later, something changes. 1 subscriber. You stare at the number like it might disappear. It's your best friend, the one who's known you since you were kids. He texts you, "First subscriber, don't forget me when you're famous." You laugh alone in your room. It's one person. It's nothing. It's everything. For the first time, the dream exists outside your head, so you keep going. You upload a vlog about your day, even though your day is small. You film a talk about not giving up, whispered at midnight. You try a creative experiment that fails beautifully. You document everything: the trying, the failing, the trying again. You learn to edit on a laptop that freezes every 11 minutes. You save your project after every single cut because you've lost work before and cried about it quietly. You study thumbnails like they're sacred texts. Why does this one work? Why does that one die? Months pass. You can see them passing. The window shows rain, then heat, then rain again. The fan runs all summer. In winter, you edit wearing a jacket, breath almost visible, fingers cold on the cracked keys. You upload 11 views. You upload 6 views. You upload 19 views. And for one insane afternoon, 19 feels like a stadium. You delete your worst videos at 2 in the morning, embarrassed by the person you were 3 months ago, which you'll learn later is exactly what growth looks like. You record at night when the house sleeps, voice low, blanket over the window to kill the echo. You've learned that a wardrobe full of clothes is a poor man's acoustic panel. Sometimes your mother's footsteps pass your door and you freeze mid-sentence like a thief in your own home, stealing time for a dream nobody asked you to have. And then there are the other nights, the ones where you watch the big creators, millions of views. Perfect lighting, perfect studios, perfect lives. You study them and a question grows in your chest like a splinter. What do they have that I don't? You still had no idea what was coming. The doubt doesn't arrive all at once. It seeps in, slowly, like damp through a wall. Maybe the algorithm hates you. Maybe you're boring. Maybe the successful ones were just lucky. Right place, right year, right face. Maybe YouTube isn't for someone from a room like this, a street like this, a family like this. Maybe everyone at that dinner table was right. Your classmates graduate. You see the photos, gowns, smiles, parents crying with pride. Your friends find jobs, real ones. They talk about salaries and weekends. You have 43 subscribers and a channel nobody watches. At night, you lie awake doing math that never works out. Hours invested, divided by views received, equals a number that looks like failure. One day, you can't even remember which one. You simply don't upload. Nothing dramatic, no announcement, no goodbye video. You just stop. Days become weeks, weeks become months. The phone camera stays in the drawer. The editing software icon sits on your desktop, unopened, like a photo of someone you used to love. Dust settles on the desk, on the notebook full of ideas, on the version of you that believed. You tell people you're taking a break. You almost believe it yourself, or so you think. Then comes an evening in late autumn. Rain against the window, the house quiet. You're bored, scrolling through nothing, and for no reason you can explain, you open your old channel just to look, the way you'd visit a grave. The videos are all still there. Small view counts, frozen thumbnails, a museum of a person who tried. And then you see it. A comment on a video from months ago, from a name you don't recognize, and you read it once, you read it again. Your videos helped me through one of the hardest weeks of my life. Thank you for existing. 14 words. You sit there in the dark and something in your chest breaks open. All those nights you thought you were talking to no one. Someone was listening. You always thought success meant numbers, views, subscribers, money. But sitting there, reading 14 words from a stranger, you will understand something the analytics page could never show you. Views matter. Changing one life matters more. And you had done that. From this room. With a cracked phone and a whisper. That night, you make yourself a promise. You actually say it out loud, quietly, like a vow. 100 videos. No matter what happens, no matter how I feel, no matter how many views I get, 100, you write the number on a piece of paper and tape it above the desk. 100, the next decision would change your life forever. And it wasn't a big one. It was simply upload tomorrow. And so begins the montage your life will one day be remembered by. Rain on the window while you edit. Winter mornings, jacket on, coffee going cold beside the keyboard. Summer nights, fan roaring, sweat on your back, headphones on, take after take, cut after cut, export, upload, sleep, repeat. Video 12, video 19, video 27. You fail in public and learn in private. You study why one video breathed for a day longer than the others. You rewrite your titles 5 times. You film your intros until your voice stops apologizing for itself. You stop asking, what do they have that I don't? You start asking, what did I do better this week than last week? Video 34, 5 subscribers in one day, 5 strangers. Not family, not friends. People who chose you. Video 41, your first comment from someone in another country. You look up their city on a map. Your whisper traveled further than you ever have. Video 47, you notice the same username coming back, video after video. Your first returning viewer. Somewhere out there, someone waits for you now. Video 53 crosses 100 views, 100 people. You try to picture them standing in your room, and the thought makes you laugh. They wouldn't fit. They wouldn't come close to fitting. Video 61, a short. You almost didn't post, catches something in the algorithm's current and floats. 10,000 views in 3 days. You watch the number climb with your heart in your throat. Video 68, your first live stream. 7 people watching live. You talk to 7 people like they're 7,000. Because to you, they are. Video 74, another small creator messages you. Want to make something together? Your first collaboration. 2 nobodies filming like somebodies. And slowly, so slowly, you almost miss it. The graph on your analytics page changes shape. It stops lying flat. It starts to lean upward, gently, stubbornly, like a plant finding light. Then one morning you wake up, check your phone the way you have 1,000 mornings before, and there it is, 1,000 subscribers. You sit on the edge of the bed for a long time and you think about the first subscriber. The 0 view nights. The comment that saved everything. A few weeks later, the email arrives. Your channel is approved for monetization. Your first payment is small. Embarrassingly small. Less than your brother makes in a day. But you stare at that number differently than any money you've ever seen. Because this money came from your voice, your ideas, your stubbornness at 2 a.m. Proof, in currency, that the dream is not imaginary. You don't buy anything shiny. You buy a microphone, used but good, The kind that makes your voice sound like it belongs somewhere. The first time you hear yourself through it, you get chills. You sound like the creators you used to study. You sound like someone worth listening to. Growth is never a straight line. But now at least it's a line. 10,000 subscribers. You read every comment. 25,000. You can't read every comment anymore, and that fact alone stuns you. 50,000. An email arrives with the subject line you read 4 times. A company wants to pay you to talk about their product. You forward it to your best friend with one word. Bro. Your first creator event. You walk in wearing your best clothes, which are nobody else's best clothes, and you recognize faces you've only ever seen through glass. The creators you grew up watching, standing there, human-sized. You wait for the jealousy to arrive, and it doesn't. Something better does. If they did it, maybe I can too. Success starts changing your life, but you guard your heart like it's the last thing you own. Because it is. You start running in the mornings, eating like someone who plans to be here a long time, sleeping like it's part of the job, because it is. You stand straighter. You speak without apologizing first. One afternoon, you get your first tattoo. Then another, one on your neck, one down your arm. Not for the cameras, not for anyone. Symbols, a date, a phrase only you fully understand, a map of the journey written on the person who survived it. And the room, the little room with the peeling paint, begins to transform. The airplane laptop retires. A real machine takes its place, silent and fast. A proper camera. 2 soft lights on stands. Acoustic panels where the blanket used to hang. A desk that doesn't rock. A chair that doesn't complain. Some nights you just sit there with the lights on, looking at it. The room you used to imagine. You're sitting inside it now. Then comes the day the package arrives. Heavier than you expected. You open it at the kitchen table because your mother insists. The silver play button, 100,000 subscribers, your name engraved in metal. Your mother holds it and goes quiet. Then she cries. The silent kind. The kind that comes from years, not moments. And you remember everything at once. The whispered recordings. The 0 views. The night you almost let it all go. Every difficult night suddenly makes sense. The money grows. And here's what you do with it. You pay the bills that used to make your mother sigh at the kitchen table. You fix the things in the house that have been broken since your childhood. You help your siblings. The same ones who told you to get a real job. They protest, you insist. They hug you longer than usual. One evening you notice something you can't remember ever seeing before. Your mother sitting in the living room doing nothing, not working, not worrying, just resting. No plaque will ever beat that. 300,000 subscribers. Life gets larger. Invitations to speak. Interviews where people ask about your process. And you smile, remembering the process used to be a blanket over a window, bigger sponsors, flights to cities you'd only seen in videos, collaborations with names from your old subscription feed. Strangers recognize you in the street now. And every time, some part of you looks over their shoulder back toward a small room with a water stain on the ceiling. Then comes the secret you keep for months, the meetings, the paperwork, the key. One Sunday, you tell your mother you're taking her to see something. She complains the whole drive. She has things to do. Where are you going? This is far. You park in front of a house with a garden. You hand her the key. She doesn't understand at first, then she does. She covers her mouth. She looks at the house, then at you, then at the house, as if one of you must be lying. It's yours, Mom. She cries, you cry. Standing on the sidewalk, holding each other, in front of a house that whispered nights and zero views built. Some victories you can't measure in subscribers. There's one more childhood promise left. When you were a kid, you loved Bugattis, posters, videos, daydreams. But your first real dream, the possible impossible one, was always a Lamborghini. Years later, you stand in a showroom, and a man in a suit hands you a key that weighs almost nothing and means almost everything. You drive it slowly the first time, ridiculously slowly, not to impress strangers, but because somewhere in time, there's a kid on a broken chair, editing on an airplane laptop at 2 a.m, and this drive belongs to him. You did this for the version of you nobody believed in, and then, one morning that begins like every other morning, you check your phone. 1 million. 1 million people. You try to picture them and you can't. No room fits them. No stadium fits them. The gold play button arrives weeks later, gleaming, unreal. Your name engraved, where you once wrote it on a channel with no logo. The interviews ask the same question. What's your greatest achievement? They expect the plaque, the car, the numbers. But here's the truth. The greatest achievement was never the gold on your wall. Never the engine in your garage. Never the money. The greatest achievement was becoming the person you once needed. The voice in the dark saying, "Keep going, you became it." For 1 million strangers. But first for one kid in a small room, whispering into a cracked phone so nobody would hear him dreaming. And so the story ends where it began. You go back. The old house. The old room. It's empty now. Silent. The camera of your memory moves slowly across it. The broken chair still leaning. The fan finally quiet. The cracked walls. The water-stained country on the ceiling. The tiny desk with the short leg. The rectangle of sunlight, where the old laptop used to sit. Above the desk, a piece of tape still clings to the wall. The paper is gone, but you remember what it said. 100, everything. The 1,000,000 subscribers, the house, the car, the mother resting in her living room. All of it started here. In a room the world would call nothing. Because extraordinary journeys don't begin in extraordinary places. They begin in rooms like this one, with people like you. So if you're watching this from a small room of your own, with an old laptop, a slow connection, and a dream nobody claps for, understand this. Your dream doesn't begin when people believe in you. It begins the day you refuse to stop believing in yourself. Now go make the first video. The room is waiting.